Story 1. My 28M wife, 27F, cheated on me and broke the news on our vacation. Here's a rewritten version of your story. It's been 3.5 weeks since my world completely shattered. I, 28M, had been working abroad for 7 months, leaving my wife, 27F, back at our apartment. She was busy with her full-time job and evening grad school. I had a 3-week break planned and surprised her with a European vacation. She was supposed to meet me there during her spring break, and then we'd return home together before I went back to work. The moment I picked her up from the airport, a rose in hand, something felt off. She seemed distant, but I chalked it up to jet lag. The day progressed, and things seemed mostly normal until lunch. She ordered fish, a strict vegetarian for years, which really threw me. I tried to brush it off as her wanting to indulge in local cuisine. Later, I mentioned something about having kids, and she said, almost casually, "We have some problems to sort out before we have kids." I was floored. We had been actively talking about starting a family as soon as I finished my year-long assignment abroad, even in the weeks leading up to this trip. Again, I tried to blame jet lag, and we went back to the hotel for a nap. After our nap, I gently brought up her comment about kids. This opened the floodgates to a long discussion about how she felt some of my behaviors were emotionally abusive. It wasn't the first time we'd had this conversation. We had even started a DIY Gottman therapy program. In the past, I'd reacted defensively to the term emotional abuse, because even she admitted I never intended to cause her harm. It was more of a communication style issue. She listed her reasons. 1. Excessive concern for her in social situations where I wasn't present, referencing a time she got very drunk at a work party, and I'd been worried about her since, though I never felt I was overbearing. 2. Talking down to her and being short. 3. Judging her, which I genuinely don't believe I do. 4. Concern about her spending habits. She had hidden thousands in purchases from me despite our finances being completely combined. Looking back with therapy and friends, the emotional abuse accusation feels like a deflection, but in that moment, I believed it. I listened intently, validated her feelings, and told her that even if unintentional, I never wanted her to feel that way. I offered to come home early, cancel the rest of our vacation, and even consider ending my overseas assignment to work on our marriage. That's when she broke down, and the words that still echo in my head came out. "I cheated on you." I was in utter disbelief. 8 years together. I trusted her implicitly. This was so out of character. I pressed for details, and she said she'd gotten drunk at a grad school happy hour, met a guy named John, went back to his apartment, and they had sex. She gave me vague answers, couldn't recall the exact date, but repeatedly assured me it was a one-time thing. She didn't know him, and never spoke to him again. Naively, I believed her. I threw up. I cried. I had what felt like a full-blown panic attack. My world was instantly turned upside down. Eventually, I calmed down, and we talked. I even told her I forgave her and wanted to move forward. We decided to finish our week in Europe, and I would return to the States with her, canceling my work assignment to focus on our marriage. The week in Europe felt like a dream. We had so many deep, meaningful conversations about our lives, our future, our past. We had incredibly intense sex, multiple times a day. I later learned about hysterical bonding. We took loving selfies, talked about our future children, made plans. But the moment we stepped back into our apartment, it was like a switch flipped. We had marriage counseling scheduled for 2 days after our return. The day before, she broke down again, this time telling me she was 100% done with the relationship and felt too far gone. I tried to reassure her that it was okay to feel that way and that we should still go to the counselor. The counselor suggested she might be in flight mode and advised her to give it 2 weeks before making any final decisions. She agreed, and we also decided to give each other space while attending individual therapy. That space lasted less than 24 hours. The next day, she was even more distant, guarding her phone strangely and texting constantly. I assumed she was coordinating her exit from our apartment with her family. Then, I found a journal entry left in plain sight with plans to get lawyer and get apartment. At that point, the reality hit me. It was over for her. I called my parents, and they were concerned, suggesting there might be another person involved. I was adamant that wasn't the case. There was no way my wife could lie to me like that, especially after our deep, emotional conversations in Europe. She left our apartment that night. On her way out, she cried and told me she never wanted to hurt me. I was just confused and heartbroken. She went to a female coworker's house out of town for the weekend. She then broke the news to our mutual friends, who were just as bewildered as I was. By Saturday, I started to slowly process the situation. But my parents' concern about another man kept nagging at me. Out of a sense of grim obligation, I checked our phone records. Over 2,000 messages in less than a week and a 65-minute phone call with a male coworker. All happening late at night. Panic started to set in. I eventually managed to access her location history. She had been going to his apartment multiple times overnight in the week leading up to our vacation. Then, I found social media messages between them. She was texting about how much she enjoyed having sex with him while she was sitting right next to me on the couch, the very day she was so guarded with her phone. My heart sank. I felt physically ill. I felt like the biggest fool for being so completely manipulated by her. I don't even recognize the person she's become. I confronted her, and all she could say was, "I didn't want to hurt you." She still hasn't given me any real answers about how this happened. She told no one, not her friends, not her parents. And she acted completely normal with me while she was sleeping with this other guy. She then signed a lease in his apartment building, a city over, and moved out a week after I discovered the truth. While moving her things, she was cold and distant, a complete stranger compared to the woman I loved. I'm struggling immensely with the lack of closure. When did she truly check out of our marriage? Were there other affairs? Why not just leave if she was so unhappy? I'm in therapy, on medication, and desperately trying to work on myself, but it's incredibly difficult. I have no appetite, can't sleep, and my mind is constantly flooded with thoughts about the affair and my wife. And the worst part is, all I truly want is the person I thought I knew, my wife, back. The loneliness right now is crushing. Comment 1. Please get tested. Tell friends and family the truth about her. She should feel ashamed of her actions. I'm sorry she turned into a selfish AH. I'm glad you're already in therapy. A year from now, your life will feel lighter. Comment 2. Thank God you did not have children with her. She is not worth your time or energy. Get the divorce and completely cut her out of your life. No communication. This is how you focus on your healing. She will try and reach out, but you owe her nothing. Comment 3. I'll never understand why decent people stay with such shitbags. This one ran the gauntlet: blame, lies, tears, flip-flop, etc. Folks, if they cheat, protect yourself and burn it down. I'm old with 2 decades of faithful marriage. It's a real thing. And I mean cut all the fat out. Friends that protect, family that excuses, purge the garbage and find your peace. Life is too short. Comment 4. I have no doubt that when the affair fog clears and she comes to the conclusion that she was used, she'll try to manipulate and love bomb you. Stay away. She won't change. There's something deep down that's broken. Story 2. My 44M brother is cutting contact with our family, including me, 39F, and my kids. I'm at a loss about how to handle a really difficult situation for my kids, especially my 9-year-old daughter. Today, my brother 44M informed me that he is cutting off all contact with our parents, me, and my children. This also includes his wife and my daughter's cousin, my niece, who she has a close relationship with. My daughter lost her dad 2 years ago, so this feels like another significant loss for her. My relationship with my brother has always been somewhat distant. He joined the military young and has lived far away for many years, currently about an 8-hour drive. We've maintained a connection through updates about our kids and birthday wishes, and we'd see each other a couple of times a year. Importantly, my daughter and his daughter talk weekly and play online games together. My brother and our parents have had a strained relationship for years, with him and his wife increasingly distant. Today, he sent a group text to our parents declaring them toxic and stating he was blocking them, me, and my two children on all communication channels. The only explanation given was that they are toxic. I immediately reached out privately to my brother and his wife, expressing my confusion about what my kids and I had done to warrant this. And while I understood their issues with our parents, I hoped our kids could still maintain contact. Hours later, my brother sent me a lengthy, separate text detailing his grievances, mainly directed at our mother, whom he wouldn't even call mom. He accused her of years of manipulation, with our dad enabling it. His examples included their lack of response to his autism diagnosis 4 years ago, news to me, their offer to help with childcare during his nephew's surgery that was limited by their work schedules, which he acknowledged, a visit in December where they brought my daughter without asking. He felt the focus should have been on his kids, and that our dad was self-absorbed while our mom was distant, in an instance where our parents took my daughter and his daughter to a museum when he didn't want to go. He also mentioned his perception that our daughters aren't close because mine doesn't always answer her calls. Ultimately, he's cutting us off because we still have a relationship with our parents, and he believes I'm either blind to their toxicity or don't care enough to see it, hoping I'll break the generational curse. I responded with my own detailed text, acknowledging his experiences, apologizing for the things I felt were appropriate, like bringing my daughter without permission, offering my perspective on my relationship with our parents, who were my main support after my husband's death, and assuring him that I'm always open to contact and wouldn't involve our parents if he wanted to maintain a connection with me or allow our daughters to stay in touch. He hasn't replied. My biggest concern now is my 9-year-old daughter. How do I gently explain to her that her cousin, who she talks to every week, and her aunt and uncle are suddenly not going to be in our lives anymore? Comment 1. All these people who are saying not to talk to your daughter until she asks are giving you terrible advice. Your daughter already understands loss and will be heartbroken to get ghosted without explanation. At that age, kids will blame themselves for anything and will internalize those negative thoughts/feelings in a lasting way. You don't need to agree with your brother's actions, but he does have the power to do what he said he will. So get in front of it with your daughter, so she's not left wondering and blaming herself. Tell her that uncle is fighting a bit with grandma and grandpa, and you're not totally clear on why. Then tell her that uncle wants some time away from everyone around grandma and grandpa, so that means she won't be hearing from her cousin for a while. Let her know it's uncle's decision, and that her cousin will miss her just as much as she'll miss cousin, but unless uncle changes his mind, there's not much you can do to fix things. And then let her talk about her feelings. Your daughter deserves better than to be left wondering why her cousin suddenly isn't there. Comment 2. I think let your daughter know that her uncle is going through some stuff and he and his family are taking a break from the extended family while he's processing it. And I would only bring that up if your daughter does first, otherwise I wouldn't say anything. The other thing is the situation with your brother does not get discussed in your daughter's hearing. Things may change, and it's a lot for a kid to process. It sounds like you have been kind in your responses to your brother. Comment 3. Explain to your daughter that her uncle and his family need some time to themselves right now, and that it's not her fault. Emphasize that people sometimes need space to work through their own issues. Reassure her that she can still cherish the memories and that you're there to support her through this change. Story 3. 30M, fiancé knowingly gave me 30F, herpes. I'm in complete shock and my heart is shattered into a million pieces. I honestly don't know where to turn or who to confide in, as I'm afraid involving family and friends might only make things worse. My fiancé, 30M, and I have been together since 2018 and engaged for the past 2 years. We've built a life together, sharing a home and raising our 2 beautiful children. Last year, I received a diagnosis of HSV-2, which blindsided me. It was a completely unexpected outbreak that turned my world upside down. I had always believed our relationship was completely faithful, especially after so many years together. I was devastated, crying for days and feeling disgusted with myself. My fiancé was incredibly supportive at the time, reassuring me that everything would be okay. He mentioned he'd never experienced any symptoms, but we both knew that by then, I would have likely transmitted it to him. I was overcome with guilt, apologizing profusely and sobbing as I told him I had no idea I had it. He simply told me he loved me, that we would get through it, and didn't make a big deal out of it at all. Fast forward to a few nights ago. I noticed a lesion on him. I froze, a wave of guilt washing over me, and asked him why he hadn't said anything or made a doctor's appointment. He went completely silent and started acting strangely. Confused, I asked if he had ever had this before. He sat down beside me and quietly admitted, yes. In that moment, a cold dread washed over me. I asked him how long, and again, silence. I told him he needed to answer me right then and there. He finally confessed that he had been diagnosed with HSV-2 before we even started dating. He admitted he was too embarrassed to tell me. So, the reality hit me like a physical blow. He made the conscious decision to knowingly withhold this crucial information from me for our entire relationship, allowing me to become infected without my knowledge or consent. We have a wedding planned for this September. I am utterly lost. More than anything, I want our children to grow up in a happy and stable home with both their parents. I am willing to put in the effort to build a healthy relationship. However, I'm grappling with how I can possibly move forward from such a profound betrayal. Is it even worth it to try and work through this with someone who could do something like this to me? Someone who was prepared to marry me without ever revealing this devastating secret. He has a naturally selfish streak, but I cherish the trust and loyalty I felt we shared. Now, that trust feels completely and utterly shattered. Has anyone else ever faced a situation like this? Is it possible to rebuild after such a significant breach of trust? Comment 1. It would be over instantly for me. I would never trust him again with anything. He didn't even love you enough to protect you from this. Comment 2. What a weak man. A weak, pathetic man that should not have access to your presence and love because he was too scared to be accountable for his sexual health. If you stay, I bet he would not create space for your anger and betrayal because poor Bubba is so distraught he knowingly gave someone an incurable STI so you would not leave him. He denied you informed consent. He cares more about protecting himself from his big emotions than respecting you. Comment 3. First, I don't believe him. It's more likely that he cheated. Second, he was allowing you to take the blame that he did. Third, knowingly giving an STD to someone without their consent is a crime in many areas. But if you want to even attempt to stay together, then you need therapy stat. Personally, I think you probably should do more digging and have him show you proof from his medical records where he actually got his diagnosis. Comment 4. Look, it sucks telling people about it. It really does. But lying to them is vile. And it's even more vile that he watched you spin out and get upset and didn't tell you that you got it from him. He doesn't take your health seriously. He didn't give you the information to make an informed decision. And as someone else mentioned, you may even be able to sue him. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.